Nancy Pelosi now asking the Justice Department to investigate mortgage lenders to see if they have committed fraud after a growing number of states have halted foreclosures. Ally Financial and other mortgage giants are only the latest to put thousands of evictions on hold 23 states after admitting errors in foreclosure filings. Now lawmakers and the AFL-CIO want a 60-day voluntary foreclosure moratorium. Congressman Elijah Cummings is here with me now. Great to see you.
Good to be with you.
Frequent guest, but not always in person, so better in person.
It's good to be here.
What is your concern about these foreclosures? The lenders say that the paperwork was more complicated than they realized and that they were protecting some of these clients as well by moving more quickly. But are you concerned? You're concerned about fraud, obviously.
I'm extremely concerned about fraud. I'm extremely concerned that these affidavits, there's some evidence that there have been forgeries. And believe me, Andrea, come on. You've got big banks, Ally, you've got J.P. Morgan Chase, and you've got Bank of America admitting that they did not address the paperwork, affidavits, by the way, properly. Now, keep in mind, these affidavits attest to two very important things. One, that they actually owned the property and therefore had a right to foreclose. And two, that the person, that is the borrower, was in default. I mean, you've got them admitting that there were all kinds of errors and they weren't looking at the documents. And I'm not talking about 100 or 150. I'm talking about tens of thousands when we add them all up. So, no, we want to make sure that the process is fair to that person being foreclosed upon. We're not saying don't foreclose if you're doing it right. We're just saying there is a process and you need to go by the process.
And if this investigation does take place and if everything is held up, what about the effect on the credit squeeze and on some of the borrowers themselves? I mean, could this have a negative effect economically on some of the most vulnerable people? Well,
no, not so much. I think that the people that it would hurt the most are folks who are trying to buy property. Right. And in other words, a lot of people are buying foreclosed property now. A quarter of all the sales right now, 50% rather, are foreclosed properties. But it is important that we do things right and do them according to the legal, the laws. And,
I'm just saying, could you slow down the recovery if you put a bigger freeze on the mortgage market?
No, we're only and by the way, we're only talking about two months. And keep in mind, these companies have done these kinds of things. That is, done moratoriums from, say, Thanksgiving to the beginning of the year before, because they didn't want to put people out of their houses. So all we're saying is check your process. If your process is fine, there's no problem. But these are companies that already, 3 of them already admitted it, and I think that it's systemic. I think it just throughout probably the entire industry.
Have you heard back from Justice?
Not yet, but I'm sure they'll be looking into it. It's just that important. We've got to be fair. Keep in mind, we've given these banks a lot of money. Allies and GMAC $17 billion. Bank of America $20 billion, not million, billion.
Billion with a billion.
Right, that's right. And so now they've got to do right. Now, another problem, one of the reasons why we have this problem, Andrea, is because these banks have not staffed up. They do not have sufficient staff to address the issues. And all we're saying is let's be fair to those people who may be losing their houses. And keep in mind, a house is usually a family's #1 investment.
Indeed. Elijah Cummings, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to see you, sir.
Thank you.